You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hello, everyone. Welcome in to Watson's Playbook. Hello, everybody. Welcome into Watson's Playbook, episode number 16. I hope you guys had a great week. It's been really rainy here in Texas, which has been good because we really needed it. It kind of makes my job a little more difficult than it has to be. But that's okay because we definitely need all the rain we can get down here, and temperatures starting to cool off. We're seeing that cool off coming up this next week. We're going to be in the lower 90s, headed into the 70s. One day next week is going to be in the 60s. So we're looking forward to that weather. We do usually get a lot of rain during this period of time, but that's something I'm always willing to deal with as long as we get the cool down that comes with it. So, not much has happened to me this week. Just been working, and we've been dealing with learning from home with the kiddos. And Darla, she's in second grade, so we decided to do the teaching at home through the school district. So they do Zoom calls and everything. And it's been quite a hard time for her to do the Zoom calls. And we were on it from 8 to 3. And we were like, man, that's quite a long time to have our kid on the staring at his computer screen and trying to figure out this stuff. So we've been contemplating on doing homeschooling through a different avenue, and we've been looking into doing that, but we don't know what we're going to do yet. They changed up the schedule a little bit, so they're not on the computer as long, and they're going to change it up one more time. I think they're all just, we're all in that learn right now kind of mode. We're trying to figure out what works best for everybody. So I hope you're able to have patience with that. We just didn't like all the screen time she was getting, but we're looking at different avenues and different things we could do to help that out. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, at least in the United States, have that issue right now and trying to figure out what they're going to do and how it's working out for the kiddos. Interesting. We have not heard much from the PlayStation 5. They've not come out and said much. They're supposed to release in the holidays this year. The holiday season is about 2 to 3 months away. So we're kind of getting cut down to the chase here of when we're going to hear news. We should hear something this month, hopefully, for the PlayStation 5, and really break down the components, really break down how much the price is going to be, the release date, and everything else for it. So look forward to that this month, hopefully. I know I said they were going to do something last month, but I figured they had to do something last month. I was wrong on that. But definitely, hopefully, we've heard something coming this month. So hopefully they get that stuff out because they're being really secretive, and it's the console battle between Xbox and they don't want to put their price out. I don't think they want to put their price out too fast because Xbox might try to undercut them and all sorts of things, but they have been very secretive about it, and I think our PlayStation fans are just like, please tell us everything what it's going to look like as far as the actual when you turn on the system and the new AI system we're getting with it and everything else. So hopefully we'll look forward to hearing that this week. in the tee box, this episode, we're going to jump into the NFL. You know, the NFL starts this coming Thursday. It's already crazy to think that the NFL is here. There's been no preseason, and it doesn't really feel like football, but there's going to be football on Thursday night, starting off the season. You got the Texans and the Chiefs starting it off that night. So I'm going to go down and break down and kind of tell you what I think of the division and who's going to win it. But we're going to go ahead and jump into the fifth down here. Okay, first down this week, Alvin Kamara has been put on the trading block for the New Orleans Saints. I was a little bit surprised by this because Alvin Kamara is a really good running back. He's not a guy that's going to get a lot of carries, but he's a guy that is very versatile. He's a guy that can be basically a wide receiver if he wanted to. He's going to catch the ball in the backfield. And to me, running backs nowadays with the new systems and the way football is nowadays, they need to be able to do both. You want a multi-talented running back that can catch the ball in the backfield and can also run between the numbers. Alvin Kamara is definitely that guy. I think he battled some injuries last year and he kind of dipped down a little bit, but they're fighting over the price. Alvin Kamara was surprised by this as well because of the fact that he thought they were excuse me, sorry, I don't want coughing. He thought that they were heading in the right direction as far as contract talks went, but he wants a little higher than the Saints want to pay, and they're looking to trade him. And, running backs, to have a really good running back is a good thing, but to overpay your running back is not a good thing. And it's because of running backs, and I'm telling you this now, running backs are the easiest position in football to move on from and get someone else to replace them. They're easiest to replace a running back. You can get the same type of production from just about anybody else that you're going to get. So running backs, it's a very low value spot. You don't want to overpay your running back. You don't want to give them a big contract. And some have, and Dallas Cowboys have. They probably regret that deal. You look at the Chargers, who gave the Chargers refused to pay the running back. He ended up going to Atlanta. The Rams? Todd Gurley gave a huge contract, and a year and a half, 2 years later, they had to trade him, get rid of him. So running backs are a very low value spot. You do not overpay it. And I urge the Green Bay Packers, I'm talking to my team now, do not overpay for Aaron Jones. If you get him on a deal, great. If not, you've got to move on from him. Second down here on the fifth down segment, Roger Goodell comes out this week and says having fans at some stadiums and not others gives no advantage to those that have fans. There's a lot of talks on how many fans are going to be allowed in stadiums, who's going to allow fans. The Packers, I know my team is not going to allow fans for a couple games, I believe, and then they're going to allow games later on, I guess, to see how it works out with everyone else. Some teams are not allowing fans at all, and that's due because the legislation and government in their states have said you are not allowed to have any fans. Jerry World here in Dallas, they have been giving the green light to allow fans. Don't know the number yet, so they're still working that kind of things out. But I don't know how Roger Goodell could come out and say that, because fans, there is a home field advantage when you're playing at home because you're fans. The loud noise. If you go out to Seattle, the 12th man there in Seattle, they get so loud sometimes that it can create an earthquake up there, and that's insane. But that has to be a big advantage for them. So I don't see how Roger Goodell can say that, and the only reason you can logically sit there and say that is because you want that money, right? The revenue, the ticket sales. You have to come out and say that and tell the owners to get over it, so you can still have people in the stadiums still making some profit instead of none. So I think you should be able to have fans at every stadium or not. I don't think there can be in-betweens. I don't think it's fair for you to allow some teams and not. If some states won't allow it, then I think you got to ban fans this season to go to the stadium. But that's not my call, and I know it's more money in their pockets if they allow fans. So that's why they're going to allow some and why they're not. Third down here is the Cowboys have been given the green light to protest. This is going to be a big thing going forward. It's going to be a big thing going forward. It already has been in other sports. We talked about this last week as the boycott took over in the NBA and took over in the NHL and into Major League Baseball and soccer. People were boycotting games. The NFL is going to see some games boycotted this year. It's going to happen. You're going to see players kneel for the anthem. It's going to happen. If you've listened to my other podcast, you already know how I feel about that. But the Dallas Cowboys, and it's such a big thing for them, is because, one, they are the biggest, most popular sports franchise in the world. All right, very well marketed. Two, Jerry Jones came out and had 4 years ago when Colin Kaepernick kneeled for the anthem. He came out and said, if you want to play for the Dallas Cowboys, you will stand for the anthem. Those are the two reasons why it's such a big deal. And so Jerry Jones came on a couple weeks ago, right when spring training started there. And basically, Jerry Jones came on and didn't really give you a yes or a no or whatever, but he kind of talked away. And what we took away from it is he thinks that he's going to allow the Cowboys players to kneel for the anthem. Dak Prescott came out this week and said, says that each player should have the freedom to express themselves the way they want when it comes to this. And so I don't know. We've been hearing things that we kind of think they're trying, because Jerry Jones wants to please everybody, right? He wants to please both sides. And I don't know if they're going to do like they did a couple years ago in Arizona, where they kneeled before the anthem and stood for it. People didn't like that either. I don't know if Jerry Jones, what he's going to try and do, if they're going to have a team message or if they're going to allow teams to kneel, but it kind of looks like you're leaning that way. And it's kind of funny because there's a bunch of Cowboy fans that have, Jerry Jones won't stand for that. He won't let him do that. And it looks like he's going to have to. And so I've already seen the tweets about, I've been a Cowboy fan for 50 years and I'm done. So it's just kind of funny to see how that go down and see how they're going to act about it. But it is a big storyline there. Fourth down here. I'm going to butcher this name, but it's Nugoku. I believe he got traded from the Jags to the Vikings. And the kicker is he took a $4 million pay cut to leave Jacksonville because he wanted to go somewhere. The Minnesota Vikings wanted to trade for him, but they said, hey, we don't have the cap space to afford your money. And he said, whatever my money needs to be to come there, I'm willing to do anything to get out of Jacksonville. That's how bad the Jags are. And I will go to Minnesota and help try to be a contender for them. Not only that, the Jacksonville Jaguars have had a complete fire sale, got rid of basically all the talent that they got. And they even cut Leonard Fournette, who is now with the Bucks, out there trying to help Tom Brady. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think it's team tank time, buddy. So they'll probably lose out and go 1-15 or 2-14 and get that number one pick, I think, for Trevor Lawrence next season. All right, number 5 is going to be the NBA playoffs. All right. So one, I find it interesting that in the semifinals between the Heat and the Bucks, they're already they're headed to game 4, and the Rockets and Lakers just played game 1 last night. So the Heat are up 3-0 on the Bucks. The Bucks are weak. I've always thought they've been pretty weak. Giannis has some flaws to his game. He's going to be the MVP, and he is a good player. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but that team is just not as good as we think they are. They're not as good as the record shows that they are. And they are down 3-0 against the Heat. And the Heat, they have some dogs on that team. Jimmy Butler, they got some good shooters. And they're going to win out. I don't know if they're going to sweep them. Giannis, it popped up on ESPN a while ago that Giannis is questionable for game 4. I don't know with what kind of injury. Hope it's nothing major. But you've got to think, to be on the brink of elimination from the playoffs, that it's got to be pretty hard, something pretty bad, to even contemplate not playing this game, because this is the season on the line. This is the MVP we're talking about, right? I think he has to play if it's nothing serious, but the Bucks have lost all hope. They're down 3-0 as they move on to game 4. The Clippers dominate the Nuggets the other night, and they win. They go up 1-0. I think they play tonight as well. The Lakers lose to the small ball Rockets. we need shooters. We've got Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and that's about it. No one else is consistent. LeBron James scored 20 points last night. That's not going to be enough. Sorry, LeBron, it's not going to be enough. Our coach Frank Vogel let Rajon Rondo play a lot of minutes last night, to taking the ball out of LeBron's hand, because LeBron does play point guard. Left no spacing on the court. LeBron was mad about that last night, and they end up losing. Now, I do think we'll beat the Rockets, but I don't think how you could look at this Laker team and say they could beat the Clippers, because when the Clippers want to play, they're scoring 120, 130 points a night, and we struggled to make 100 at some point. So we're going to struggle with the Rockets. I think it's still going to go 6 games. I think Lakers take it in 6 and they'll beat the Rockets to go on the next round. The Celtics are up 2-1 over the Toronto Raptors, as the Toronto Raptors hit a 3-point shot at the buzzer the other night to not fall down 3-0. So the Toronto Raptors are fighting and clawing their way back in there. And I think that the Celtics will end up winning the series. They are probably it's my favorite team in the East. Not my favorite team, but my pick probably to go on to the championship at this point. I really thought it was going to be the Bucks, but looking at all this right now, I think the Celtics are the best team in the East right now. So I decided on this episode, I was going to jump into the NFL, since the NFL's coming up. We got Thursday night football coming up and everything else. A couple little sideline notes for you. Adrian Peterson gets cut from the Redskins. That's a big surprise, since they've already short there in the running back position, and he said that he was surprised because he really had a really good camp. Alex Smith, though, makes the 53-man roster. What a story this guy is, man. What a story this guy is. It's a guy I think we're all rooting for. Alex Smith has been a decent quarterback. He's been a pretty good bus driver in the NFL. He broke his leg. And a horrific tackle almost cost him his life. All right. This leg was broken so bad it got infected, almost cost him his life, almost cost him his leg. Once they saved his life, they thought they were going to have to cut off his leg. They saved his leg. He worked his way back up. They didn't think he'd ever play football again. And here he is. He made the roster. So we'll see what he looks like. I don't think he's definitely not starting, but we'll see if he gets any playing time. But what a inspirational story that is for Alex Smith to come back. Josh Gordon is back with the Seattle Seahawks. They sign him back. HaHa Clinton Dixon gets cut from Dallas. And it's kind of interesting because that's the Dallas's weakest position is the defensive backfield, when you couldn't even be a backup there. Maybe they thought he was getting paid too much money to be a backup. He's only getting paid $3 million now. So Josh DeRozan is cut or on the trading block, I believe, from Miami, and I feel bad for that kid, but I don't know if he's going to get another shot in the NFL, unfortunately. But someone will probably pick him up as a backup. I don't know if he won't ever get another starting job in the NFL, unfortunately for him. All right, guys, we're going to jump into division by division. I'm going to tell you who I think wins the division. I don't care about getting the records right. The records might be off a little bit, but I care more about getting what team's going to win the division and where they're going to finish in the division than I do actually getting the records right, because records can be hard to tell. But we're going to jump in here to the AFC North. And the AFC North has the Baltimore Ravens and the Steelers. You got the Browns and the Bengals all in this division. This is a division that was dominated last year by the Ravens. The Ravens, I believe, are going to take this division again. I believe they're going to go about 12-4, 11-5 area. Last year they were 14-2. I don't see that happening. The natural things that happen in the NFL or in any sport is you have natural regression in a lot of areas, and defense doesn't carry over year to year, and you see all that stuff happen, and people are going to game plan for Lamar Jackson. People are going to game plan for Lamar Jackson this year and be able to try and slow him down running the ball and throwing the ball. So I believe they go 12-4. Lamar Jackson is a beast, and they do have the easiest schedule in the league. So that helps out as well. I picked the Steelers to go about 9-7 in the second spot there. They could go to 10-6 if necessary, but I think the Ravens will have enough of a lead to not worry about it. They're going to get Big Ben Roethlisberger back from an injury. We don't know how he's going to look, how he's going to do, but this defense should carry this team. They're a really good, talented defense, a really good coach team. I think they're going to finish up second. Number 3, the third place will be the Browns. I'm going to pick them to go about 8-8, maybe 7-9. You got to prove it to us. All right. I'm not jumping on the Brown bandwagon like everyone did a couple years ago when they had talent. You have to prove it to us. You can have all the talent in the world, but if your quarterback's not into it and your coach is horrible, and you have players hitting other players in the head with helmets and getting suspended and losing games, you got a lot of issues. And they hired a new coach. He's been keeping everything kind of hush-hush. They're still a talented football team, but you got to prove it to us before we jump on that bandwagon and say that you're going to do much. Baker Mayfield even came out and said he apologized because he couldn't handle losing, right? This is a guy that, and a lot of these guys do this. They come from high school football where they didn't lose a game. They won national championships or state championships. They go on to college. They win. They do big. They either win Pro Bowl, or bowl games, or national championships, and then they come to the NFL and they get stuck on a horrible team and they can't handle losing. Baker Mayfield apologized for that, said he's going to be more focused this season and more into shape. So we'll see if that turns around for him. And then in that division, finishing last place, I got the Bengals about 3-13. This team, they could be 4-12, 3-13 area. They got Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow was a great quarterback with LSU in the college football system last year. Went on to win the national championship, and they were my favorite team to watch last season because what they did to get to the national championship was amazing. Not only did they get there and win it, they beat team after team after team, good team after good team after good team, high talented teams. They were stepping up to the challenge. Joe Burrow stepped up to the challenge, and he's going to have to step up to the challenge here, because the Bengals aren't very good. We know they're not very good. He does have a good running back behind him and Joe Mixon there in the Bengals. But they aren't as talented, and he's going to be thrown to the wolves this year, right? He's a brand new quarterback coming in. You're not getting the full preseason and full off season like they were getting because of coronavirus and everything. So you're kind of throwing him to the wolves right now, but I want to see him do good and succeed. So hopefully the Bengals can do something around him where he's not running around with his head cut off like a chicken. All right, we're going to jump into the NFC North, and this is my division, right? My team, I'm the Green Bay Packer fan, is in this division. Green Bay Packers have owned this division for years. We've owned it. We've won year after year for a long time. I got the Minnesota Vikings winning this division going 10-6. I think they improved their team over the offseason. They added Justin Jefferson from LSU, who played really good in college last year. They lost Stephon Diggs, but they added a guy that can come in and step in and be that number 2 guy. For the Minnesota Vikings, Adam Thielen's going to step up and be that number 1, and I think they won't miss a beat there. Their defense, they did lose a couple guys. Xavier Rhodes left, but he was not good back there. He's not the same Xavier Rhodes that we were used to. They let go of him. They did get some defensive help with it. Trade, like I said, Ngoku off of Jacksonville. They added some guys with defense, and their running back Cook is a beast. He's just an absolute beast who could do it all from the backfield, punch you in the mouth, catch the ball in the backfield. I have them going 10-6 and being number 1 in the division. So don't kill me, Packer fans, but that's me being realistic. All right, that's me being a real fan. Green Bay is going to take a major step back this season. They're going to finish second in their division, going 8-8. We're more 8-8 and a 7-9 team than we were last season. And you got to look back at the stats and the statistics to show you that and prove to you that we were 13-3 last year, 1 game away from the Super Bowl. A lot of it was luck. All right. A lot of it are things that say that shouldn't happen by the numbers, by the odds in Vegas. These things don't happen. While we won last year, our point differential was horrible. We were very lucky, 13-3 team. We won a numerous amount of games. We were like 7-1 and 1 score games, which doesn't happen. So when you look at that, you got to say, all right, guys, things usually come back down and you don't get as lucky and things don't bounce your way. So I believe we're more of like an 8-8, 7-9. We Rogers has been on the decline. He's been regressing. They say he's had a really good camp this year, so we'll see. I don't believe all the hype or non-hype in camp either. Rogers is regressing. We got wide receiver questions. They cut Jake Kumro today. Bellington, that came from the Canada Football League, who was supposed to light the league on fire, didn't even make our 53-man roster either. We cut him as well. So we got some questions. We had the 18th ranked defense in the league last season, and we did not approve in the draft. So, and the one guy that could have helped us get improved was a linebacker, and he is out 6 to 8 weeks. They say Rashawn Gary's had a really good camp, but I don't believe camp. A lot of that's hype. I want to see it in the games. So I just think we're going to regress. I got the Bears going 7-9. Their quarterback's horrible. Their defense is what's going to carry this team. They made the announcement that Mitchell Trubisky is going to be the starter, and I believe they really had to. They picked up Nick Foles in the offseason from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I really believe that the Bears had to name Mitchell Trubisky as a starter, because if they named Nick Foles as a starter and they wanted to pull him because he was bad, I don't think you can really pull him for Mitchell Trubisky because he just got replaced by a bad quarterback. They're going to put Mitchell Trubisky in there and see how long he can go before they decide he can't play no more, and then they can put pick Nick Foles in and see what they can do. I got the Lions about 6-10. They're a bad football team. They got a decent quarterback. They got decent wide receivers. They could go 7-9 along with the Bears. They just find ways to lose. I'm not a big fan of Matt Patricia. I don't think they are going to win. They're going to be fourth place in this division. So, Minnesota win it. Packers second place. Maybe they get a wild card spot. I don't think so. I think we're going to see the Packers miss the wild card and going on in there. All right, we're going to jump in to the AFC South. And this is a division that was won last year by the Texans, and the Titans fluked their way through the playoffs. I have the Colts winning this division. And it was going back between the Texans and Colts because Watson's a really good quarterback. He can win games for Texans. I just think the Colts improved their team the most. They added DeForest Buckner from the 49ers, who can get actually the quarterback help out with that defense. They have a great offensive line to help keep Phillip Rivers up off of his back. We're going to see if he could be a better player this year. Hopefully he can. He's got a decent running back. He's got one of the best O-lines in the league. He's got some okay wide receivers to play with. They got a decent defense. I think they turn it around this year. I think they're well coached and they play good for their coach. I think they're going to go 10-6. I got the Texans going 9-7 right behind him at number 2. You got Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson can pull games out of his butt. He's a really good quarterback. They have a decent defense there, but they have a bad head coach. And sometimes coaching can lose you games, make dumb decisions. 9-7 is what the Texans will go this year. The Tennessee Titans was a fluky year last year. All they really have is a running back. He was running over people last year. Tannehill got hot as he stepped in off the bench and played well. But they're not going to win this year. Tannehill's not a very good quarterback. They paid him some money. They didn't they gave him a pretty big contract, but nothing that's going to blow your mind away when it comes to starting quarterbacks. And this is a guy that I have never believed in, and I think he's going to regress. And you can't only have a running back and win. It's not going to work that way. They do have a decent defense. I just see some regression and disappointment there in Tennessee with the Titans this season. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to go about 2-14, 1-15. I believe they're in team tank. Some people say they're not. I believe they are. They traded away any talent they got left, and they're looking for Trevor Lawrence in the first pick of next year because we all know he's going to be the first pick. All right, guys, we're going to jump in to the NFC South, and this is one of the toughest divisions to pick. You got a lot of teams that could go up, could go down. The Atlanta Falcons had horrible last year. The Saints are usually the team that does this. The Bucks were okay last year. We're not that great. They've got all this talent in the world. Do you believe in the hype, guys? Do you believe in the hype of the Bucks? Well, I do believe in the hype of the Bucks. I got them going in the first round, or not first round. So I got them being in first place. And let me tell you why. Like, I believe Tom Brady is not a great quarterback anymore, right? He's on the decline. He was declining last season. I'm kind of saying he's washed, but they got enough players around him where he'll be good, where the team will be good. They've got so many offensive weapons. It's probably going to be the best offense in the league. They got the number one wide receiver core. Arguably the number one wide receiver core. They just added Leonard Fournette to kind of help cushion Tom Brady back there as well. Their defense looked decent last year. They're going to get to the quarterback a lot. They added some O-line help to keep Brady up off his back. I'm just interested to see how that offensive playbook is going to work, because the coach likes to throw the ball deep downfield, and Tom Brady is more of a pass the ball short and get the ball out fast kind of thing. So maybe we see them change it up. Maybe Bruce Arians adds a couple different things to his playbook to kind of match what his quarterback can do. Because if he wants to air it out all over the field, I don't know that's going to work. But I got them going about 11-5 this next season and being number one. The Saints are going to be number two, and Drew Brees is regressing. He regressed last season. How much more has he got in the tank? How much did his comments over the offseason cost him with his teammates, and how much they believe in him? They've got plenty of talent, but they might trade away Alvin Kamara. That's still yet to be seen what that is going to look like, and trading away Alvin Kamara, if they do, what they're going to get back for him and everything that goes into that. I think they'll be 10-6. They're going to be really close to fighting for that division. They could win it, but I think with Drew Brees regressing, I don't know if they will. Number three, I got the Atlanta Falcons going 9-7. So these are very close teams. They're one game apart from each other. I think they're going to bounce back from last season. They had a horrible year last year, and they're too talented to be that bad. 9-7 is not a great year by any means. It's not a horrible year by any means. This league is built for 8-8 teams. So anything over 8-8 is a decent season, in my opinion. Not most fans don't see it upon that point, but I do. 9-7 is okay. For the Atlanta Falcons, I do think the coach gets fired, Dan Quinn, at the end of the season. The player stepped up and said, hey, this wasn't his fault. This is our fault. Please keep him around. They're going to give him one more year, and I don't think it's going to pan out for him. Then we got the Panthers going about 4-12. They got a whole new coaching staff. They were looking at like they were team tanking. They picked up Teddy Bridgewater, had to be their quarterback. They were looking like they were tanking. They got rid of Greg Olsen. Or not taking, but rebuilding. They got rid of Greg Olsen. Luke Kuechly retires. They lost him. And then they signed Christian McCaffrey. And so I don't know if they have a direction they want to go, but it's just kind of interesting they would sign him to a big contract if they're looking to rebuild and everything else. So interested to see how that goes right there and everything. So that is that division. The next division is going to be the AFC East. All right. And this is a division that's also kind of hard to tell. And that's all because of Patriots. Did they get worse when Tom Brady left? Are they going to get better when Tom Brady left? How's Bill Belichick going to coach and all this stuff? How it's going to look without the Tom Brady era in New England? I actually have the Bills winning this division. I think the Bills defense will help drive him. I really like their coach. They added Stephon Diggs to help out with this offense. I think their quarterback will get better this season a little bit, and I freaking hope so. I had a fantasy draft the other night, and I had to put it on auto draft, and he's my quarterback. So I hope he plays one hell of a year. But their defense is really good. And they're really well coached. I think the Buffalo Bills will take over this division this year, win 10-6, and be in the playoffs. I got the Patriots going 9-7. I could really see them winning the division. You don't know. There's a lot of questions at the quarterback. They did add Cam Newton. They made him captain. They said he's going to be the starter. There's some questions of what he had left in the tank, but Bill Belichick has seen enough of him to name him the starter. But there's a lot of COVID people on the team. I think they had 8 or 9 players, especially on the defensive group, that decided they're not playing this year. So we'll see what it's going to look like. We got all that happening. You got Tom Brady leaving. Is Cam Newton going to pick up the system well? Is Cam Newton going to work there? Cam Newton is a guy, I'm not a big fan of Cam Newton. I think he's a crybaby. I think we've seen it when things are going good, he's cocky. When things are going bad, he runs from the pressure. I'm just not a big fan of him. All right. I'm not a big fan of Cam Newton. I think talented wise, he used to be really good, but I think he's kind of washed up. He's had that big shoulder injury last year that kind of hurt the Carolina Panthers because he lied about how bad his injury was. They get rid of him. He signs for nothing for the New England Patriots. Turns it around there. It looks like with the attitude, and they named him a captain. The captains are named by the players, so that looks really good for him. Bill Belichick is a genius of a coach. I know that they've been caught cheating and all that stuff. Bill Belichick is a great coach. He does things that no other coach does. He changes up his game plans mid-game better than anybody else. He's a genius, right? And he knows how to coach his team. He knows certain players that can be pampered, have to be pampered. He knows certain players that don't have to be. Tom Brady didn't have to be pampered. Tom Brady, when he was there, got yelled at a lot and got screamed at a lot, and they knew, oh, man, if he can yell at Tom Brady like this, he can chew my head off, right? Because he knew Tom Brady could work under that. And it worked. They won hundreds and thousands or whatever of championships, it seems like, right? They're always winning championships. And they make it look easy at times. So he's never really come out and said, man, Tom Brady is so great. He's such a great quarterback, right? He's not going to give him that high praise. Cam Newton's a little sensitive. Cam Newton leads a lot into the press. He's social media, and he gets depressed over all that negativity. I'm talking about how he stinks at football. And Bill Belichick is stroking this guy's ego, right? He come out and said, oh, Cam looks great, this yada, yada, yada. And he's really stroking his ego because he knows Cam Newton cannot be coached like Tom Brady. If he did, Cam Newton would shut down and not be very good. So I think he's got to stroke the ego of Cam Newton. We'll see how long it does if Cam Newton starts playing bad football. I got them going second. I got the Dolphins in third place, going about 6-10. 7-9 area. They're a team I think that is on the rise. I think they're going to be on the rise in a couple years. They got Tua Tagovailoa when he's able to step in there and be healthy. And they added defense. They had Byron Jones, who a really good cover cornerback from the Dallas Cowboys. They picked him up and paid him good money. He's going to shut down some parts of the field for you there. They've got some talent. I think this is a team that can win in the future. They're set up really well. I think this coach is going to be a good coach for them, and I think they're headed in the right direction if they keep with it. And then they got the Jets, who stink. The Jets are probably going to go 5-11, 6-10, maybe. You have Darnold questions. I don't like their coach at all. I don't believe in the Jets whatsoever. They're going to finish fourth place there and probably end up firing their coach in the season. Let's head on over to the NFC East. And to me, this is an easy pick to win the NFC East. It's going to be the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys last year were 8-8. I jumped on the hype train. I said, man, Dallas Cowboys look good. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. They should win their division, and they should go on to the playoffs. And they went 8-8. I said, man, I'm not jumping on that. I'm not jumping on the hype train again, guys. You're not going to fool me again. But they're just too dang good to be that bad. They're not going to go 8-8. I got them going 11-5, actually. And a lot of people said, man, Jason Garrett held us down a lot. Jason Garrett was a bad coach, horrible coach. The Cowboys will go 11-5. They're just too good. Their defense is a little skeptical in the cornerback and safety areas. Their defensive line looks pretty strong. They just got Randy Gregory back too off of they just brought him back and got reinstated from the NFL. Their defensive line looks decent. Their linebacker crew is pretty good, although Sean Lee is out already on the injured reserve list. The offense should be one of the best offenses in the league. And last year, their offense was the best in the league as far as yards and everything goes per game. They played really well in offense until it counted in December. They were 8-8 last year. Dak Prescott's got to be good this year. And there's no more excuses for Dak Prescott. This is it. He's got the second best wide receiver crew, in my opinion, in the league. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, they got lucky to draft him, but he fell to them, and he's going to be amazing this season. He's going to break out. And they got, who's the third guy? I forget the third guy. Gallup. Gallup's the third guy who could be a number one on a different team. So they got three potential number ones and as their wide receiver crew. They got Zeke Elliott, and they got Pollard as their other running back, who's very versatile out of the backfield. And I think they're just going to be too good to be that bad. I got them winning 11-5. I got them winning it easily. The Eagles are going to be 8-8. This is a team that is already injury prone. They already have injuries. Carson Wentz has been day to day. You lost the wide receiver here. You lost two great offensive line. Zach Ertz, and your contract talks have stopped because you decided to offer him less money than he refused the first time. This is going to be a bad year for the Eagles. I got them going 8-8, and then I got the Giants going 6-10. They got a decent coach, and they kind of my bad. That's the Redskins I was talking about there. The Giants got a new coach. He's unproven. They added Jason Garrett to be the offensive coordinator. I don't like Jason Garrett. Daniel Jones, will see if he can continue to go forward and continue to keep getting better. And then you got to look, I got them going 6-10. You got fourth is the Redskins, and they're just a bad team. The only thing that's going to be really good on that team is their defensive line is going to look really good on that team. But other than that, the only thing that they did this offseason to get better was their head coach and Ron Rivera. And we're going to see if the Washington football team have to give up. The owner might have to give up his team because he is an idiot. The AFC West is one of the easiest divisions for me to call because it's got the Kansas City Chiefs in it, and they're going to repeat and win that division. They're going to go 13-3. And all I need to say is they're Patrick Mahomes, and that's all you need to know. If I just said the Chiefs are going to go 13-3, and the reason why is Patrick Mahomes, I could go on and not say anymore. They're basically bringing back the same team. They're going to go 13-3. They're going to be a really good football team. And I'm probably going to have them repeating as Super Bowl champions. I'm not sure yet. Number two, you got the Broncos. The Broncos were not as bad as I thought they were last season. They had a Joe Flacco, which is horrible. Never been a Joe Flacco fan. They get Drew Lock. He went 4-1 in his last 5 games. Drew Lock, if he can continue to be good and continue to improve from last season, it looks like John Elway might have got the quarterback right this time. They had Jerry Jeudy, who's going to be an explosive wide receiver. My buddy Jeff, that's on this podcast quite a bit with me, is a Denver Bronco fan, and I told him I'm going to turn the Denver Bronco games on just to watch Jerry Jeudy. This guy's explosive from Alabama. I really liked watching him play in college football. To me, he was the number 2 wide receiver coming out of college football, other than CeeDee Lamb was number 1. But Jerry Jeudy is a guy who can catch the ball in space. He can make players miss. He could take it to the house. I'm going to be excited to watch him this year play football. They added some defensive help. They added Melvin Gordon in the backfield to help out the running back position. I think they're going to go 10-6 and be number 2 and fight for a wild card spot this year. The Denver Broncos are on the way up. The Chargers are going to go 7-9. They had a bad year last year. I think they were 5-11, I believe. They're too talented to be that bad. Phillip Rivers threw a lot of interceptions last year, but they don't have Phillip Rivers anymore. They actually drafted their future quarterback in Herbert from Oregon, who played decent last year in college. He's been a decent college quarterback. Going to come in and learn the system. They're too talented on defense. They got a decent offense as well. I got them going 7-9. I just don't trust in their quarterback they have now. And I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's been around the league. He's been okay. Tyrod Taylor is his name. Sorry. He's been okay. He's a bus driver. He's not going to win the game for you, but he's not going to kill you as well. So I got them number 3. And then I got the Raiders at number 4, going about 6-10. I just don't believe in them. I don't believe in Coach Gruden. We'll see. They can prove me wrong. They got a good running back. Their quarterback's not garbage, but he's not that great. So we'll see what happens there. They added Humphreys in the offseason as well in the draft. He's a fast wide receiver, so see what they can do with him. The NFC West was the hardest division for me to pick. You got 3 teams that can win this division. You got Seattle, you got the Niners, you got the Rams. Those are 3 teams that can win this division. It's a very tough division. This one took me a little bit to think about. I think the Rams last season, I think that bad year was a fluke. And when the Rams were really bad last year, well, the Rams were 9-7. So they did better than I thought, right? I was thinking, man, the Rams were actually pretty bad. They were 9-7 last year, which is not that bad, which we talked about a little bit earlier. But I got Seattle winning this division. I got Seattle going 11-5. Maybe 10-6-ish, 11-5, somewhere around there. Russell Wilson's elite, and that's why I put that there. I'm not a big fan of the coach, not a big fan of their game plan. They like to run the ball a lot and take the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands. They've always had a decent defense there. But I think anytime you have an elite quarterback, and especially the one like Russ where he can move out of the pocket, you're going to have a chance to win. I got them winning the division this year. I got the 49ers number 2. And it was hard for me to pick between the 49ers and Seattle and the Rams. The 49ers have a good defense. Their offense is riddled with injuries to the wide receiver position. So I don't know. And Jimmy G's got to prove himself a little bit better. He's got to do better this year. And I think he will. This defense will keep him in it going 10-6. I also got the Rams going 10-6. The Rams had a fluke year last year. I think it was just a bad year. They had a lot of injuries. Cooper Kupp was out most of the year. I think to get that connection back, and this offense is going to be a little bit better. Jared Goff's got to step up and play better. I think they go 10-6, and then I got the Cardinals going about 6-10. I still don't know who they are. They did add DeAndre Hopkins to go with the offense this year. They got rid of a running back who was injury prone. I think and they added a really good linebacker in the draft. I really think they could be better than that, but I really have a lot of questions because we just don't know who they're going to be. So I got the Chiefs winning the AFC West. I got Seattle in the NFC West, the Ravens, the Vikings. I got the Colts, the Bucks, the Bills, and the Dallas Cowboys all coming in first place in the division this year. I could be wrong. I could be right. I could be spot on. Numbers say I'll probably be wrong. You got to look and think about all the things that go on in football, the way the football fumbles and bounces around, and the stats and everything else. And I try and be realistic. Look, I said my team was going to finish 8-8. There's a lot of Green Bay Packer fans who think we're going to go 14-2. So it's not going to happen, guys. Sorry to burst that bubble. We were one game away from the Super Bowl. We were so far away from the 49ers. It wasn't even close. Rodgers is going to regress. But the good news is, guys, football's right around the corner. Thursday night football this week. And I'm super excited for it. I'm super excited for football in general. We have more football talk here as we get into it. So last year I did a survival football game. And basically what it is you pick a team each week. And you say, hey, this team's going to win this week. And if you win, you go on, but you're not allowed to pick that same team again. And you keep going until you lose. It was pretty fun. We did it last year. We picked about $10 a piece, and whoever won got the money. I decided not to do that this year because I didn't know how COVID was going to work. If we were going to lose some of the parts of the game, some of the games or parts of the season, I didn't know if they're going to boycott. I didn't think it was fair if I picked a team and their quarterback was out because of COVID and I'm going to lose because of backup quarterbacks in. So I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a group of friends of mine. Right now it's just looking like 3 or 4, and we're going to pick every Sunday night, Monday night, and Thursday night football games and see who has the best record at the end of the season. I'll just kind of update that here on Watson's Playbook as we go forward. I did join a fantasy league. Like I said, my team is not that great. But the last time, I don't usually have to auto draft very much, but last time I did, I got second place in my, Yeah, I got second place, and I'm not very good at fantasy football, but I like to play. It's pretty fun. So I hope you guys are excited about football as much as I am. I hope you guys are hopefully enjoying some cooler weather as we start to cool down here in Texas, and hopefully are not jumping over 100-degree heat anytime soon, or hopefully not for the rest of the year. Hope you guys are able to stay positive out there. And I want to remind you guys to stop and slow down and remember the small things in life that make you happy. I want to remember to challenge you guys to be better, or challenge you guys to use your social media for good things and positive things. That's something I'm trying to work on. I keep jumping into political battles or racial injustice battles. And I got to stop doing that because it's not positive, and I know I need to. So it's something I'm going to work on this week. I hope you guys are able to just stay positive. And that's all we could do is, to me, happiness is a mindset. And that's one of my biggest sayings. And my biggest sayings on this podcast, biggest sayings in life is you have the right, to be happy. And it's a decision you make every day. And we all go through trials. We all go through hard times. We all, go through life, and we all are trying to just live life and be happy and be as happy as we can and make those around us happy. And happiness is a choice. You can wake up, and you can have a bad day at work. You could wake up and have a flat tire. You could get in a car wreck on the way to work, but you could still choose to be happy and just deal with the situation, get it over with, put a smile on your face, and try and stay positive and try and be happy. And I know it's very hard to do. It's something I need to work on, and I've been trying to do better on. And I think if we go on through life trying to better ourselves every day, then I think we'll be happier in life. I think that is one thing that's going to push me to keep going forward for my family, for myself. We talk to the wife all the time about having ideas about bettering our family. We're going to get a board and put our goals down on this board, a schedule and a goals list. And these are the goals we're fighting for this year. These are the goals that we want to achieve and see where we are at the end of the year. We're trying to buy a house, hopefully have it start being built at the end of this year and being ready for the beginning of next season. Not next season. Look at me thinking about sports. At the beginning of next year, that's something that's tough. We got to build credit. We got to save money. We're doing this. We're doing that. And there's things we can be better at, definitely. But these are goals of ours. And I think writing them down and making a list of our goals and how we can achieve those goals will help us. I hope you have a list. I hope you have something that you're working towards, something that you're looking forward to. Just things will make you happy. So just stop, slow down, remember the small things, and remember happiness is a choice. It's a mindset. It's a decision you make every single day. God bless you guys. Thank you for jumping on and listening to Watson's Playbook, episode number 16.